All right, it's the last lap of the conversation, and we have, well, a big fish in the house, Bukola.
Indeed, we do, and he is Oba Sulaiman Bangbade, the Edun Alaka III, Adimula of Awori Kingdom, Olofin of Isheri, and he's also the Assistant Secretary, Southern Nigeria Traditional Rulers Council. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have royalty in the house this morning. Oba Adimula, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
You're trading all of your titles will be a mouthful.
And
So
you have to do that
I chose
introduction.
We have to yield to her so that I don't destroy anything. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kabisi.
Okay, so this conversation is geared towards, our continued efforts to get consensus opinion on the state police conversation, or perhaps, expanding the diversity of views that have come through, especially since the president transmitted the state police bill to the National Assembly. So this time around, we're taking views from the traditional institution. And thank you, sir, for coming through on this particular one. And so it seems to be getting, accelerated consideration at the National Assembly, with the House of Reps now this time around adopting Mr. President's version of the state police bill. So it looks like it's halfway through where it's taking us to. What are your projections about what the state police bill, when it becomes law, institutionally, what are your projections about what it would look like?
Thank you for having me once again. I think we actually should have gone this route a very long time ago, because policing ourselves and our people should have been localized a long time ago. And the role of traditional rulers in this should not be underestimated, because we are actually the people that are closest to the people. We get first-hand information from our people directly. And recently, I was the secretary of the committee set up to produce the bill for the constitutional rule for traditional rulers. The committee was headed by the Emir of Lafia, retired Supreme Court Justice Baggy, and a host of other traditional rulers from everywhere in Nigeria. So we came up with our constitutional rule, and part of it was that traditional rulers should form a part of the Security Council, both at the federal, at the state, and at the local government level. And if I recall from what has been thrown around the social media pages, the constitution of this council includes these traditional rulers because it's very necessary. The information we have should actually be given straight to the security agencies and the people in charge of our security. So I think right now this state policing, it's due, and it's something important that we should take very important. And I think the president has done the right thing by transmitting this bill, and the lawmakers who are actually doing the right thing.
So from the point of view of traditional rulers, if you were to form a part of the council that you talk about, or those required to give input into what the state police architecture should look like, what would be the input provided by traditional rulers? What would you think that this state police architecture requires for it to be a success?
I think it requires all hands on deck. You see, the security agencies need information to work with. No matter the multi-levels we create, if there's no information for them to work with, it will always boil down to this scenario again. And by giving traditional rulers the constitutional rule and being part of the State Security Council, both at the local government and at the federal level, they will have more information at their disposal. Individuals, people, they feel more at ease coming to the palaces to come and report issues. I know I get a whole lot of these things too. So it's important that every stakeholder in our country is being carried along, and they are being embedded in this new bill that has been considered by the National Assembly and the Presidency.
So let's talk about specifically what you're doing at the moment that can be grafted into all, because sometimes it's not really that anything new is done. It's just things have been existing, but it's not being institutionalized at your domain or within your domain. What has been done that you think that with the coming in of this bill that is going to be an act of parliament, sorry, it's going to be part of the constitution, by the way, because an amendment to the constitution, the state police. What are you doing within your kingdom that you think can help accelerate the level of security two ways: intelligence and the men on ground to be able to do the work?
Okay, I would give you an instance. The first issue I ever dealt with when I was installed as the Olofin of Isheri was the situation of some people came to my palace to come and report that there were actually some people fishing along our Ogun River channel in an unorthodox manner. You know, they barricaded the water. And they were fishing in a manner that fishes were not allowed to swim upwards the river. So when they came to me, they wanted to go and attack those other people. So I had to consult the police officers who arrested these people and brought them to my palace. So when they came, they were actually, none of them could speak Yoruba, this part of our country here. They were from the northern part of the country, and they were fishing in a manner that was affecting people, the indigenous of this community, who were ready to attack them. So I was able to involve the police. They were arrested. They were made to make some undertakings that they will not engage themselves in this kind of act again. So these are things that they bring to the palace that ordinarily, you know, they feel relaxed and they believe we act faster and we act traditionally to resolve this kind of issues. If I had not intervened, you would have heard, maybe you would have heard about fishermen attack or something along this Ogun River channel. So that's why I said we as traditional rulers too need to be included. And I remember when we were drafting the bill, the Emir of Lafia, like I said, is the retired Supreme Court Justice Emir Baghi. He was of the opinion that we should have traditional rulers in these security councils. At least the chairman of the National Council should be at the federal level, the chairman of the state should be at the state level, and at the local government level, the chairman of that local government traditional council should be involved in the Security Council of.
Can we say, I wonder, I mean, I like the fact that there's that unity amongst you traditional rulers, especially, you know, this fights proposing that traditional rulers are recognized in that framework constitutionally. So I like that unity between the North and the South. But one would wonder that when you look at the North and the peculiarities of the North and the region, will that framework would it suit the southern part of the country? That's my first question. Maybe the second would be that there are those who think that, you know what, traditional rulers, to a large extent, some of you are complicit in all of these issues around insecurity. I wonder how you respond to that.
Well, your first question, the North and the South, we have our differences, but the security situation we have is similar in all its aspects. You see that the first people that are being abducted by these bandits or whatever you call them are the traditional rulers, because they understand the role we play in our communities. And you know, we are always on ground. You don't have a traditional leader that lives outside his domain. We are always on ground, so we understand the situation of most of these things. So bearing in mind all of this, we believe that this security architecture that is being put in place now, this state policing bill, will actually work for us if we are being considered as part of this thing. Then for those that think traditional rulers are relics of the past, no. We are actually what is used to remember who we are. We are the custodian of the culture and history of our people, and the role we play in the economy, is not something that should be pushed aside. I think we are very important, and we should be given some kind of recognition.
Oh, I think the preceding or follow-up point that he made was that there are concerns that some traditional rulers are complicit in some of the security concerns that we have had. And, you know, in addition to that, we have had reports in some parts of the country where, you know, some traditional rulers were fingered in providing information to bandits who attacked their communities, you know, hence some of the attacks that we have seen. So what are your thoughts on that? Perhaps you have insider information.
Yes, we have these informations that some traditional rulers are complicit in these situations, but I don't think it's true. No traditional ruler would want his town or his community raided by these terrorists or these bandits, whatever we call them. But the situation is when you have these informations and the security operatives are not on ground for you to pass this information to, you know, it becomes, people see it as if you are complicit in all of these things because you get this information, then what do you do with it? So that's where people think they are complicit in these actions, but they are not. And that is why we are saying if these traditional rulers are represented and are part of this security architecture, you know, once this traditional ruler gets this information, it passes it to the chairman. The chairman has an express way of giving it to those involved and those that should operate on it. But I don't think any traditional ruler would agree to his community or his territory being raided. I don't agree to it.
There's one other controversial issue I would like to address since we have the benefit of the KBS in the studio, and it's, I don't know whether when I was growing up, but I wasn't aware enough. But now that I'm this age, I'm aware to know I'm doing what I do, which is the fact that there's been this agitation, maybe not strongly, that there has to be a way to insulate the traditional institutions from political interference. Because now we can see governors just depose people. They just depose our traditional rulers. Some they accuse them, just like you said, some traditional rulers are involved in insecurity. Some is just maybe a traditional ruler for whatever reason, had a nuance around supporting a particular candidate before an election. They look for a way to depose the person. Should we look for a way to insulate traditional rulers from politicians such that whoever becomes a KBAC and all, whoever becomes anything has no direct or indirect input from from politics and politicians?
I think what you mentioned now has been taken note of by we, the traditional rulers too, because I don't in the bill that we submitted to the House of Representatives, we actually added some clause there that traditional rulers are not allowed to attend political rallies, are not supposed to attend political parties. And we criminalized it, we made it an offense in the proposed, what we submitted to the House of Reps. And I remember too, we also added some kind of restrictions for traditional rulers from participating in all of these, you know, major political events. So we have also tried to insulate ourselves and make sure that traditional rulers don't get complicit in all of these actions, because we are to be seen as the father for all. Anybody who has aspiration, who has ambitions, should always come to the palace for royal blessings, because that's actually why we are there. So we shouldn't be supporting one person over the other.
That's very important, because so what if they totally insulate the traditional rulers from the politics? What about funding?
Well, I think that was also considered too while we were debating this role for traditional rulers, because what the traditional rulers benefit now is a decree from late General Sani Abacha that talked about 5% of local government funds should go to the traditional rulers. That's actually what's on ground now. Since then, nobody has touched or attended to it. Has not been reviewed, and I'm sure some states don't even adhere to that directive, but it's still there. Some states still benefit from it, And I'm grateful to the Ogun State governor because we still benefit from it.
But is that not part of the problem? When traditional institutions, rulers are on the payroll of government, then they're unable to speak truth to power. Hence, the inevitable endorsement of candidates in elections, by traditional rulers. Isn't that part of the problem?
No. If you have people who play a particular role in the society and it's not being funded, then you would actually have them seeking for funds in a way they are not supposed to seek. And that's where you have traditional rulers becoming land sellers and land grabbers to be able to partake in the functions of their office. But if it's well funded, then I think if it's in the constitution as it's something that's actually given that should happen and not going to seek cap in hand for funds, then I'm sure the traditional rulers will abide by these regulations that we are providing for them.
Totally out of time. Wow. We wish we could have more time. Bukola?
Indeed. And so I was hoping that there were more posers for KBC, but we must anchor at this point. We have a lot more places to touch as far as, the talking points from social media are concerned. We must thank you very much, sir, for coming on the program. We have been talking with the Oba of Isheri, Oba Sulaiman Bangbade. He's the Edun Alaka III, Adimula of Awori Kingdom, and Olofin of Isheri. He also serves as Assistant Secretary, Southern Nigeria Traditional Rulers Council. Thank you, sir, for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, KBC. And happy birthday, a belated happy birthday, and congratulations on your new palace.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm glad you were all there.